we are live.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, welcome to another, I think, riveting episode of the Carolina Packers podcast. Today, as I understand it, we're going to give some guarantees. So for those of you who don't have time maybe to watch the football games coming up this weekend, this is what will happen.
Yeah.
And
easy as that, really.
It's as easy as that. Figure we would do a public service and just go through it. So right off the bat, let's just dive right in.
Yeah, let's look at this. I have it pulled up the, I guess the bracket you can say for what the playoffs are looking like. Obviously, NFC on the right, AFC on the left. So we'll just go kind of game by game. I don't know exactly when each game's happening, but this is just kind of an overview for the weekend and weeks to come.
Well, I'll tell you the games as they're happening.
So yeah, we'll go game by game.
Yeah, let's start first of all with the 4:30 game today, which is the Seahawks-49ers game.
Interesting.
I think of these, this one...
And the Bills.
Well, I don't want to eat my words, is probably one of the easier ones to guarantee.
You would think.
I would be blown away if the 49ers lose this one.
You would have to assume that would be...
Because they have not lost since acquiring Christian McCaffrey, correct?
Yeah. That's kind of important to see. That has been what's happened so far.
And they've already beat the Seahawks at the Seahawks over that span. Yeah, the 49ers, after kind of the up and down, injury-riddled first half, they've just been on a tear. So there's no reason to think they're not going to have potentially an easy game here. Now, every so often, it does happen that a team walks in thinking it will be easy and gets blown out.
And I will say,
but
I
would be shocked.
The 49ers are playing obviously, Seattle's done well this year. Obviously, sitting at 9-8 now. They've performed well, and San Francisco, yeah, they are undefeated since Christian McCaffrey has come back. But you never know in the playoffs, really. Yeah. Obviously, it's at San Francisco. This is, again, like you said, maybe Buffalo and Miami because of the backups with Miami. This is probably up there as probably a game that's on paper should be the easiest one.
Yeah.
Obviously, 2 versus 7 is probably going to be the easiest one, but I'd have to agree. San Francisco is most likely going to beat them.
The next one might be the hardest one. Again, this is a guarantee, but
yeah, of course,
most difficult to guarantee would be tonight at 8:15. We have the Chargers and the Jaguars.
Ooh.
And they have their record is almost exactly the same. The Chargers are at 10-7. The Jaguars are at 9-8.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What would you? Obviously, it's at Jacksonville.
Is it?
Yeah,
yes. Okay.
It's
yes,
at Jacksonville. So that's another big thing too.
Jacksonville is coming off of a 5-game win streak.
Mm-hmm. And the Chargers again. I'm pretty sure. Did the Chargers sneak in? But again, this is the first time for Jacksonville. The Chargers are a good team. My gut is telling me Jacksonville.
My gut also is telling me Jacksonville, and I don't know if it's just. It reminds me almost too much maybe of the Bengals last year.
Yeah.
Where you sneak into the playoffs, you've got an overpowered offense with a young quarterback, and you just surprise teams you just get on a roll. And I really think the Jaguars, something in my gut does say the Jaguars. The Chargers have arguably the better team.
Yeah.
But the Jaguars just have such a great offensive setup.
And most likely, I think the Jaguars and Chargers are going to be the game to watch on the AFC side. Mm-hmm. Obviously, Baltimore has a backup quarterback, and Miami's going to have a backup quarterback. So really, it comes down to that game. Pretty much, I would assume this would be a great game compared to the other two, but obviously you don't know. I personally would say Jacksonville.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Yep. So guarantee.
Guarantee, of course.
The next game, the 1 p.m. game. It's kind of odd that this is 1 p.m., but it's the Bills-Dolphins game. I think Bills are gonna walk away with this
I don't
one.
think you can
There's
go
always
wrong
room
with that.
for an upset, but they're on their 3rd string quarterback at the Dolphins. Is that right?
Yeah.
I I think the Bills, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt on this. The game after that is...
I I was going to add some, but I mean, there's nothing really to add at that point.
Dolphins are 9-8. They're not at full strength. They're 3-6 away and not playing at home. So, that says something as well. I think, again, there's always room for an upset, but 4:30 you have Giants and Vikings.
Ooh.
I really think Vikings on this one. Admittedly,
I think so.
The Packers just smacked the Vikings, but I think that the Vikings are going to beat the Giants.
You would assume so.
The Giants just don't have I don't think they have the offense to keep up.
Yeah, I don't see it as that being the situation. I think the Vikings obviously stopped the run with Saquon.
Mm-hmm.
I think the game's over.
Yep.
I think they're so one-dimensional. Obviously Daniel Jones had a great year this year, comparatively, I should say, to his past years. But I think
it's not like playing Aaron Rodgers,
no.
where he might just pop off. Unlikely. Maybe he will, but I think that you got to give that one to the Vikings.
And it's at the Vikings. I think it just makes too much sense.
The night game for Sunday is the Ravens-Bengals game.
And again, it's unfortunate that Lamar is not going to play.
But because he's not playing, I think this is a Bengal. I mean, even if he was playing,
I think it'd be very interesting.
It would be interesting. I would probably still pick Bengals
I would
because of how good they played. Well, they made it to the Super Bowl last year. They have playoff experience. I think they're going to win this.
I agree.
The Ravens.
I think that's probably what's going to happen. I don't see it going any other way, especially with the backup. So I think that's pretty self-explanatory with that.
And then we get to, maybe it's not as interesting as it would seem, the final game, the Cowboys-Buccaneers matchup.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers clearly have disappointed this year. The only thing that I think could or should give pause is just Tom Brady's experience in this situation.
It's tough to say.
It's hard to discount how great Tom Brady has historically played in the playoffs. You never know when he's going to go on another run and elevate his play to that next level. He has had some up and downs, but ended the season with lots, top 5, I think, in yardage, right?
Yeah,
third, maybe?
He was third in yardage. And then also, his last game that he needed to win against the Panthers, he went off.
Yeah.
And, the team just played super well. Obviously, it was against the Panthers.
Yep.
It was against the Panthers. And Dallas' defense you would think is stronger.
Yeah.
You'd have to say it's stronger. But it is in Tampa.
Yeah.
I personally would think I would give the edge to Dallas.
Yep. The only nervous thing is that the Cowboys just lost pretty bad to the Commanders to end the season.
And I think that is troubling. But also,
I too agree. Dallas.
You would say so?
I would give it to Dallas.
I think the talent on that team outweighs the talent on
and
Tampa Bay.
There's always the opportunity for them to get too in their own heads, right, and start playing poorly, and they know that everyone thinks they should win it, that this is like their year.
Mm-hmm. And again, Dallas is not.
I think they're no slouch.
No, and also they're not the best when it comes to playoffs, especially recently. Obviously, back in the day, they were amazing.
Yeah, this recent iteration.
But with the Dak Prescott, Tony Romo kind of situation, they've always been in the playoffs, just like a lot of teams. But they've really consistently been really good. Just haven't had any playoff success. Whereas the other situation, it's Tom Brady and even the Buccaneers. Even when he came to the Buccaneers, they had a lot of success.
Yep.
So this is probably, I think, is going to be probably the most interesting game. I know we discussed the Jacksonville game, the Jacksonville and Chargers game, but obviously 4-5 on either side.
Because this could, it could totally come down to experience in this.
And I mean, if the Panthers had snuck by, or if the Titans had snuck by, I think you're easily picking the 5 seed on either side.
Yeah, it's only the fact that it's Tom Brady playing in what he knows will be one of his last playoff games or runs, right? He hopes it's a playoff run. But yeah, I think
I think it's obviously we've gotten this right so far.
I think, yep.
We'll look back on this and just know.
Uh-huh.
Do you want to continue to go for the rest of it?
No, I think
we can do it now, and then we can go back to it.
Okay.
I mean, just it's quick, right?
And just see if we have the full 100%.
Yeah, might as well, right? I mean, we're gonna get the full 100%, but yeah.
Okay, so then what's our next matchup?
So we can just go from left to right, I guess. Either Kansas City, Cincinnati, Buffalo, Jacksonville.
So I would say Kansas City wins their game.
Oh no, sorry, I have it the other way around. Sorry, that's on me. So it would be like this. My bad. It would be Kansas City, Jacksonville.
Yep.
And Buffalo, Cincinnati.
And I think
you gotta say Kansas City wins that game.
I think you gotta say Kansas City. I mean, you don't have to.
You don't have to, but
I really think.
I don't think you can.
Especially the way Patrick Mahomes has played, I think.
And I think it's gonna be looked at as, oh my gosh, Jacksonville's an up and coming team, but this is their first time, first time being in it. Kansas City has a lot of experience. I could see them winning just based on kind of Kansas City's defense isn't as strong. But again, I think experience takes over this game.
Yep.
And just obviously Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
So Kansas City, this game is going to be interesting. Buffalo, Cincinnati.
It is going to be interesting.
That's going to be a very interesting game.
Buffalo is a super strong team, but I don't know.
It's at Buffalo.
It's at Buffalo.
I'd say you have to go Buffalo.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cincinnati is a really good team, really strong team, but Buffalo is just an all-around great
dominant team.
Yeah.
Yep. 7-1 at home on the season.
Yeah, it's hard to, again, obviously Cincinnati is going to be there, and it's going to be a good game.
I mean,
on paper,
they've only lost by 3 points or less all season.
Yeah.
So I would say Buffalo. Yep. They're also on a pretty big win streak.
Okay. So then you want to go NFC then? Philly, Dallas, San Francisco, Minnesota.
I think San Francisco wins.
I think San Francisco. I think the Vikings are very inconsistent.
Yep.
And I think they get it done against the Giants.
Yep.
But then they're on the road against San Francisco.
Yep. I think San Francisco.
San Francisco has it on that one.
Especially because there is a huge amount of experience on that team.
Yeah.
The Vikings, they have experience, but it's not maybe as positive.
And I think the Vikings will be back. I think the Vikings, again, they continue to build on the success. They can definitely come back and be in years to come from now.
Yep. And then Philly, Dallas, the difficult one there. I want to give it to the Eagles. I think
you have to.
I think you have to, the way they've been playing.
Yeah, at home, the first game. I think the only thing about one seeds, I know as a Packers fan, I've seen this as well. The week bye is obviously good for health and everything, but when you come back and these teams are on a roll and stuff,
you're cold.
Mm-hmm. And it's hurt teams in the past. But I think just being at the Philly and just that atmosphere is crazy. So I would say Philly, and it's interesting because you have 1-2 on both sides. I don't think you can go wrong with that.
Yep, and it'll come down to how Jalen Hurts plays in his first playoff appearance, how he feels with the pressure on him. But I'm going to give it to, I think, the Eagles.
All right, and then I think it's 3 more games then?
Yep.
Okay, so you have Kansas City, Buffalo.
Okay,
I'm going to say Buffalo. I think Buffalo gets revenge. I know it's at Kansas City, but I think Buffalo... Actually, is it at Kansas City? I don't remember the whole... Off the top of my head, I don't know the whole home game situation with this, or if it's a neutral site now. I don't know that situation. But especially if it's at a neutral site, I think Buffalo takes this game.
I'm going to say Kansas City. I think Kansas City wins.
Really? With their defense?
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep. I think they do.
Really? I mean, obviously it's a very toss up.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City has shown cracks in these past couple weeks.
They have shown cracks, yeah.
Whereas Buffalo, obviously, like you just said, they haven't lost a game by more than 3 points or something like that.
I guess if it comes down to a shootout, I think Kansas City wins that.
but I think it won't. I think Buffalo's defense is decent. Yeah, I think obviously it's gonna be a close game, and you're calling like a very coin flip. It's gonna come down to whoever has the ball last, whatever that may be. And of course, the last game this happened caused the new playoff overtime rule, where even if the first team scores a touchdown, the second team has a chance to score. But again, I don't think it's wrong you saying Kansas City. I really don't. I think a lot of people have this as probably the AFC Championship game, and I think a lot of people are on the fence about who's
Buffalo's probably the preferred.
Buffalo, I think, probably is the preferred for everybody, but I think you can't go wrong with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I think he's clearly the MVP.
If Jalen Hurts had played the full season, I think Jalen Hurts might have been definitely in contention, I should say. But because that didn't happen, I think you're saying MVP, great offense, obviously, amazing offense, suspect defense, but at home or maybe neutral site.
I think it'll be an offensive.
You think it's offensive shootout just like the last time?
It's going to be an offensive shootout.
And again, I don't think you can go wrong either way.
Because, yeah, they have only, let's see, the Chiefs have never scored under 20 points. Oh, no, 17 points they scored this season. That was the lowest. So just offensively, they've been super strong. They did lose to the Bills by 4 earlier in the season. But I think...
Yeah, I don't think like you said, I don't think you can go wrong. So then on the other side, Philly or San Francisco for you?
I'm actually going to say San Francisco.
That's the toughest decision for me. Is because I looked at this situation and think,
and I'm going to do it purely on experience.
I see what you're saying. I mean, I think this game will be interesting. I think Brock Purdy if he doesn't turn it over and he plays like he's been playing, I think San Francisco wins, of course. But again, it's so difficult for me to say San Francisco because of the quarterback situation.
Yes. Because
that's literally their only downfall.
Yep. And it's a big downfall.
He's been good, but will the playoffs again? Today is a test against Seattle. Obviously, it's a good first step. But then he also has to play Minnesota. Which, again, depending on which Minnesota team shows up, right? You have no clue. I think Minnesota's going to get by New York. But if the Minnesota against the Packers show up, then you're not going to really see a lot, and maybe it builds his confidence.
Yep.
But if you have the Minnesota against the Bills show up, that have, or the second half Colts Minnesota show up and get, do this stuff, it's very difficult to see.
I guess part of it, in some ways, too, is in the playoffs, there's a pretty... I think the coaching really matters more than regular season games.
That's what you're saying.
And I just think you've got Shanahan at the 49ers. I think he will out-coach. What's the Eagles coach's name? I can't remember.
Sirianni.
Is it his first year?
It's his... I don't want to say that, but I know it's Nick Sirianni. I'm pretty sure it's his first year, but I don't want to,
It's certainly probably first as head coach in playoffs.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I think... there's a big learning element there.
And maybe there's even some hangover against Dallas. Some hangover saying, oh, gosh, we won our first game. We beat Dallas. Great game. And then they lose to San Francisco. Again, I think this also really hangs on the quarterbacks for both teams.
Yeah.
I know Jalen Hurts has played amazing this year. We don't know what's going to happen when he comes back from injury. That's kind of up in the air.
They've been... the Eagles are 2-1 over their last 3 games coming into the postseason. So I mean, there's a real question about if they even beat Dallas or whoever wins that game.
Oh yeah, and I think
this is we're not.
I think
the guarantee
you're right.
is only for the first round.
The guarantee is for the first round. 100% guaranteed first round. We have that right. This is just conjecture. I think you're right. I think I'm not going to fill in this last little bit because I think we're both kind of torn on either side. It's hard for me to say San Francisco because of their quarterback. And it's at Philly.
Yep.
It's difficult. I mean, I've seen, obviously, as a Packers fan, seeing San Francisco crush us every single time we have the playoffs. It hurts. But yeah.
I'm going to say San Francisco is playing...
I think San Francisco... I think whoever wins the Buffalo Kansas City game is going to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I think that's plain and simple. I don't think.
Maybe I don't know that it will be that simple. We'll see how the teams play. We'll see how it goes, and we'll see how they play in their respective games. I mean, obviously, the quarterback question is a question for San Francisco, but if they do make it this far and they make it that far by dominating the entire way, like if San Francisco beats Seattle in a huge way, if they beat Minnesota in a huge way, I mean, big wins would change.
Or even not even big wins. Like you're talking, if your defense, especially San Francisco's defense, if they hold them under 20 for both games, they're gonna win.
Yep.
Maybe not win because the offense might not be there, but they're gonna hold them. That's probably the goal for San Francisco too. Is it's probably that 20-point mark should get you a win with the offense. You have the weapons for it. Obviously, you might not have the quarterback, but just Debo, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Ayuk. I mean, you have ridiculous weapons. I'll probably miss one as well. But you have just ridiculous weapons that are out there.
McCaffrey. Did you say McCaffrey?
I think I said McCaffrey. But yeah, you have just amazing team, good offensive line. It'll be tough to stop them, and we'll see what happens. So I think my pick would be Buffalo to win the Super Bowl. I think it would be Buffalo. I think you're right with San Francisco. I think it's Buffalo, San Francisco, and then I think Buffalo wins. And you're saying Kansas City wins?
Kansas City would seem to be a favorite to win. We'll see if San Francisco rolls, I think they beat them.
I see what you're saying.
Because they have, if Brock Purdy is playing good enough, I think in the offensive scheme they have, they get enough points and their defense is dominant enough to maybe pull out a win. I could, see San Francisco winning it all. But if we don't, it's too early for me to call it. I don't.
It's also very tough. They're on a 7-game winning streak. That's tough to keep that streak going.
Yeah, but it's tough to beat.
Oh, it's 100%
It's
tough to beat.
Stop.
But you have to think, because they have to win Seattle, Minnesota, Eagles. Obviously,
well, it has to be a win streak.
They have to win
everyone,
4 more.
Right, going 4.
Yeah, but that means they'd have to have 11 in a row, which again happens. But once you get on that streak, sometimes it gets to your head, especially if the quarterback's not as experienced. It's going to be interesting.
It's going to be interesting.
I think they come up just short, like we were discussing. I think Buffalo knocks them off in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too much into the nitty-gritty of it because they may not even make it past the first round. I mean, we'll know here in an hour.
Yeah.
Or 2 hours once the game
is
kind of going in.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Maybe it'll be down to the wire, but we'll see.
Could be. We'll
see.
Well, yeah, that's our guarantees for the playoffs, at least first round, like we said.
Yeah.
We'll come back to it and visit it and go from there.
Okay, sounds
good.